When physicists rewind the clock on the history of the universe, the mathematics eventually hit a wall. Standard models trace everything back to a singularity, a point where all the mass in the cosmos is packed into zero volume and density reaches infinity. At that specific coordinate, the equations simply stop working. From the perspective of a mechanical engineer, these infinities are mathematical errors rather than physical realities. Mukesh Vijayabhushan Singh observes that in applied mechanics, every physical system hits a yield point, a definitive structural limit where it either breaks or rebounds, long before it reaches an infinite state. Singh's framework treats the vacuum of space as a hyper-rigid, pre-stressed physical continuum. He calls this the universal lattice, a three-dimensional grid of high-tension structural connections that carries the wiggles of light and the movement of mass. This shift in perspective changes the universe from an abstract geometric grid into a tangible physical machine governed by the unyielding laws of stress and strain. Within a physical lattice, the Big Bang functions as a violent mechanical recoil. It marks the transition from maximum compression to a state of rapid, outward expansion. As a predecessor universe compressed, it hit its bulk modulus, the mechanical threshold where the internal repulsion of the lattice can no longer be squeezed. The system was 100% maxed out, holding maximum potential energy. At this limit, the universe executed a mandatory phase shift, snapping outward to re-establish equilibrium. Singh calls this the Vijayabhushan bounce. Everything we observe today, light, matter, and the flow of time, is the residual elastic recovery of that initial cosmic snap. We are living in the long, sustained ring that follows the strike of a hammer. In this framework, particles are not separate objects traveling through a void. They are localized, high-frequency knots of energy constructed from the lattice itself. We move through the vacuum because we are a part of its own internal flow. When these knots accelerate, they face structural resistance. Singh defines mass as solitonic impedance, the thermodynamic work required to force the lattice to rearrange its geometry around a moving particle. This resistance creates a natural speed limit. The speed of light is the mechanical saturation point of the vacuum, the fastest the springs of the lattice can snap back after being displaced. Large particle colliders are essentially high-energy materials testing machines. By smashing protons, they probe the ultimate shear strength and resonant bandwidth of the physical vacuum to see where the structure finally yields. Reality is a continuous expression of localized resistance. The weight we feel is the lag of the gears as we catch up to the speed of the vacuum. These mechanical laws scale directly into human history. Modern nations and empires act as secondary engines designed to couple with the universe's primary drive and convert raw potential into organized social complexity. At the individual level, a human being is a localized thermodynamic loop. We are the parts of the universal lattice that have learned to tune their own frequency. Just as the lattice stores energy in its tension, the human mind uses memory to create a holographic ledger. We record time as a series of pressurized line items. Psychological stress is the accumulation of unvented pressure within this ledger. When memories are held under high tension, they become highly pressurized physical weights that press against the internal stability of the human engine. From the collapse of a star to the anxiety of a human heart, reality follows a singular mechanical blueprint of stress, compression, and yield. Maintaining this engine requires routine maintenance. Singh argues that we must actively balance our internal measures to avoid catastrophic structural failure, venting the pressure stored in our holographic memories. Consciousness serves a vital thermodynamic purpose. By processing chaotic data into structured meaning, the human mind actively reduces entropy. Every time we solve a problem or create an ordered thought, we are essentially cooling a localized section of the universe. Ancient Vedic texts described this cycle of tension and release millennia ago. They identified the universe as a breathing machine, where the resonance of the observer had to be synchronized with the harmonic ripples of the field. We are the thermodynamic stabilizers of the system, the part of the machine that has evolved to perceive and tune its own gears. This alignment leads to a state called shunya. It is the zero point where an individual's internal engine locks into the resonant frequency of the universal lattice, reducing internal friction to its absolute minimum. This mechanical balance is achieved by focusing on the variety of experiences rather than a fixed destination. Success is defined by the efficiency of the journey, how smoothly the engine flows through different states of tension. Every period of exhaustion or crushing pressure is a diagnostic signal. In the geometry of the bounce, intense compression is the mandatory precursor to the next phase of expansion. You are a vital component of a cyclical, breathing engine. The pressure currently building in your life is the mechanical requirement for the bounce that follows.